Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. This is a recap of the Twitch live stream we did last Wednesday, where we are continuing our testing of the Origami Titan mission. We are currently just doing atmospheric testing because we will need to perform an aero capture maneuver at Titan. So we loaded up this RA-8 with the Origami Titan orbiter and glider section on top, and we're just doing some suborbital hops to try to torture test the glider and the aero capture system with various degrees of success. This is a continuation of some of the stuff that we were working on last week, so it's no surprise that we've reached this level of development, although it did not bode much better for us this time than it did in previous attempts. So there's booster step of our RA-8, and we'll just continue to burn out this core stage, and then we are going to light the upper stage, even if just for a little while, to try to get as much speed as possible. I still don't quite remember our relative speed at Titan when we put the Titan lander down, but I do remember having to go extraordinarily deep into the atmosphere to successfully capture. Orbital speed at Titan is not that high, and considering if you want an effective braking maneuver around Saturn, you want to be very close into Saturn, and Titan is not very close into Saturn. This is me trying to steer the rocket northward because I mistakenly launched eastward when I should have launched westward to maintain contact with ground station. So we just did a orbital handbrake maneuver to try to put ourselves over some comm stations so that we could have contact to separate hopefully the heat shield and the fairings after a successful braking maneuver, and deploy the glider and make sure that the thing still flies. It does not look like we're quite going to make it. We're just not quite high enough, and this little RD-105 just isn't going to give us the oomph that we need to push ourselves a little closer to an orbital velocity. But I figure a suborbital hop here at Earth will give us enough torture testing data to know if we can survive an aero capture maneuver at Titan at, I don't know, comparatively similar speeds when you factor in atmospheric density. Anyway, here's old me from the live stream to give you minute-by-minute commentary. Alright, let's kill it. Cancel that. What? Oh boy. No, no, no. Stage that off. RCS to arm. Pull yourself away, son. Alright, and angle in. And let's see how well this works out for us. Oh, I have no roll control. Why the hell did you guys let me do this without roll control? Alright, well, let's see what happens. And let's get all the staging in order. That's that. That. Yeah, you know what, let's just put all of this in one stage for now. Major Tom to roll control. Oh wow, we're already at 73 kilometers. Where's our heating? Okay. There it is. Goodbye. Well, it's on. Oh. Well, that's interesting. That worked about as well as could be expected. No connection. No wings. Dang it. So close. Almost. It's almost okay. We lost our wings. We still have our forward stabilizer. F3. Let's see what all blew up. Yeah, joint between B9 procedural wing failed due to aerodynamic stresses. So, in discussion with the chat, we've decided that there are two factors playing into this failure. One, most of the weight of the spacecraft is at the back, thanks to all of these fuel tanks and such, and aerodynamic stresses. Since we will be dealing with an atmosphere, we can solve some of our weight problems by sizing up the fairing and giving it a larger heat shield, which will of course weigh more, and then also adding some fins to stabilize us towards the back of the orbiter section to help it maintain that prograde vector as it is performing aero capture. So we'll just give them a good slant, keep them from impacting with our Voyager dish, and have a quick look over. I mean, it's not terrible, I guess. Not that I'm ecstatic about it, but of course, something went wrong there, and I had to. Oh, I Control Z'd for something else, and I had to redo the fins. We're also going to put these quad port thrusters on here so that we can have some hope of roll control, also getting them clear of the dish. Yeah, and I don't know why that fairing keeps clipping down into the nose of the origami glider, but it's super frustrating. Anyway, we're going to get the fairings back on, get our trusty RA8 attached underneath it, and we're just going to not worry about the fins sticking out from the fairing. It's a test run, and it'll go to Titan on a larger rocket, obviously. So we're going to get this out to the pad, light the engines, aiming westward this time to help maintain contact with ground stations. We'll see if we can't just get to a nice suborbital hop, maintain a good velocity so that we can continue our torture test of the spacecraft. Launch of this thing goes relatively well, at least for the time being. And we'll start to yaw over and then come up here on booster SEP in just about a minute or so. Really any second now. There they go. Always pretty. And they will land in the Gulf of Mexico. We're not going to destroy any Floridians' houses. And then, of course, we have a loss of performance on our core stage engine. Obviously, because even in test runs, nothing can really go that well. It is a thrust loss. I think we still do have a high, or the rated ISP, but we're seeing about half of the thrust as normal, so we might not get as fast as I would like for this test, nor will we get as close to ground stations as I was really hoping that we would do, which is a problem, obviously, because if we can't maintain contact, should this thing survive reentry, we won't be able to deploy the glider and make sure that the silly thing still flies, as I did make some changes to it. And there's core stage SEP, and we'll light up that RD-105, and we'll just angle ourselves way up. But I'm going to turn you back over to old me for commentary from the live stream. Yeah, we coming down. We're coming down. Oh boy, we are way coming down. All right, let's. Oh, I forgot to adjust the staging. Great. Good thing I didn't just impulsively hit it twice. Nope, RCS remain to arm, please. Alright, let's try this again. I failed. I did not check my staging. Aha, roll control. Alright, let's get that dish facing topside. Yes. Yes, I am. Human person. And, this vape thing has worked very well for me in that regard. Off and on. Oh, it's definitely going to be a stall. We just need to see what survives and for how long. Nice, Wookie. Oh, human person, how did you manage to quit? Oh, time for me to pay attention. Hey, look at this. We're not rolling. Although there's our second. Woo! That was a little close. Hello. Oh, we are low. Oh, no. There it goes. What? Well. Okay. You just simply quit? Oh, wait, hold on a second. Yeah, those are the tail fins from the glider. Yeah, that's a loss. Revert. Let's just try it from launch. Maybe without an engine failure, we could, yeah. So we just hopped right back to the launch pad for that one, and the decision was made to reduce the control authority on the control surfaces attached to the orbiter section, seeing as how their inputs were being far too drastic for such a speed and such a dense atmosphere. That is something that the final design would probably incorporate. We don't really need them to move, we just need them to keep the heat shield pointed into the wind, as that's really all that matters. As far as the aero capture is concerned, we don't really need to maneuver this thing, the orbiter section anyway, around to any specific point. So once again, on top of our RA8 booster SEP, no engine failure this time, which I think did help contribute. We didn't quite have a, we had a very extreme angle that time. You'll notice we came in a lot lower, and the braking was a lot more severe. So we're going to try to get a little bit more altitude this time so that our RD-105 stage can have a much longer runtime, and then we'll just try to get up as much speed as we can. The softer the angle, really, I think the better a chance this thing will have, as we're not shooting for a deorbit at Titan, just an aero capture. So a good long burn from our core stage. We've got plenty of altitude. I think we'll get up to almost 300 kilometers this run, and hopefully that'll give us a little more time to soften out our approach. And there's core stage SEP. Our second stage is lit. We are still climbing a little bit, which is nice. And maybe that'll help keep us over ground station. Because the only part of this test that we haven't gotten to yet, because it keeps getting destroyed, is the part where I have to separate the heat shield, deploy the fairings, unfurl the origami glider, and give it a solid atmospheric test run. That was really one of the key points of things I wanted to test out, was how it would behave flying, since I've made so many changes to it. But we can't even make the stupid thing survive that long. I guess that's how you know your torture testing is going well, is when you continually break things. I had intended on this to be just a one quick run, and then I had like 4 other things I wanted to get building, so at this point it was starting to get just a little bit frustrating. Anyway, I'm going to turn you back over to Old Me for commentary during the live stream. Alright, time to stage, kill the engine, separate, thank you, RCS to arm, pull ourselves very gracefully away and get angled in here, rotate, too much, too much. Oh, this is going to be super suborbital fun. I just want this glider to survive once. Just once. That's all I need. So I was I was really sad when building the save. I figured out that I could get so much more stability by eliminating FASA and its 10 million parts. I cried a little bit, but I made that sacrifice figuring I'll just have to tough through it, do what I can, and figure it out. Oh, yeah, you were talking about your hard drive. Please explode behind us. Thank goodness. Alright, moment of truth. I have to pay attention this time. You could just stay on point. Oh, screen shake, you're killing me. 15 Gs. Wow. So much control. I did that. So stupid. And there it goes. Where's the nose? And why is it... Would it be inside? Oh, man, look. Okay. It broke off. Dang it. The nose portion was, like, up here somewhere. So a quick jump right back to the launch pad, as I'm absolutely certain that repeating this, we will eventually get it right. We lift off cleanly, and then start very gently to make our maneuver over to the west. And, well, I'll just let old me tell you about what happens next. Come on, quit fighting with me. Why are my control surfaces... What are you doing? No, no, no. Well, that went well. Goodbye. Well, at least I finally get to fly this stupid thing. And fly it I did. There's our action group. It deploys our wings, which almost immediately levels us out. We will fire up the engines and activate atmospheric autopilot, as this thing is very dependent on it. And just give it a good flight pacing. Now, I did forget to unlock the vast majority of fuel tanks available on this thing, so we actually probably burned less than a quarter of our available fuel. This nice little stutter here due to a bunch of things hitting the ground. But for having only the nose tank unlocked, it did perform pretty well. We never saw any looping instabilities. We made several passes by the Space Center in my glorious attempts to goof off. And eventually we would run that tank dry. Not quite yet, but we're going to make one more pass. I did start to aim for the bridge, decided against it last minute, and instead did a barrel roll. All I wanted to do today was to just put this glider through its paces and see if it would still fly, considering I changed the tank stuff around. And the obvious answer is yes, until you run it out of fuel. And back in the VAB, the decision was made after a little bit of conversation that maybe an aero capture maneuver was just adding levels of complexity we didn't really need, considering the capacity of our lift vehicles, this being a DN2BX, that maybe we should just go for a propulsive capture, not only at Saturn, but also at Titan. And that depends a lot on how much fuel we can bring with us, but we do have capacity to bring a lot with us. So my initial instinct was to just add radiators and some solar panels and maybe a few more RTGs to a standard B upper stage. That would give us more than enough oomph to capture at Saturn, and then we could rely on the orbiter stage itself to capture at Titan. But I don't know, we would still need another stage, a little bit more delta V for a Titan capture. So we started plotting that out instead. Basically a large stage to go underneath the orbiter to aid with capture, and seeing as how the added complexity and the inevitable boil off anyway, and it's going to be in flight for many, many years, we decided to just build a hypergolic stage that would be responsible not only for capture at Saturn, but capture at Titan as well. And we could use the last bits of the orbiter stage to round out that capture and get ourselves a accurate and on-point telemetry, which eliminates the need for the heat shield entirely, because once you're in orbit of Titan, you're going slow enough to where you don't actually need one. We figured that out with our Titan lander vehicle, but that brought us pretty close to the time allotment for this live stream, unfortunately. So it looks like next live stream we will continue development on our Origami Titan system, as far as restructuring entirely the orbiter stage, because it doesn't need to be shaped so funny if it doesn't have to hide behind a heat shield. So that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you in the next one. So until then, see you later.